Good morning on this Saturday. It is April 22nd, and I'm Chris Allen here on the SAM channel. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, all sponsored by Ace Hardware Marketplace. Had a great time in Edmonton at the Ace Hardware store there. First time we've been there to visit and do the weather radio tour. Had a good day. We sold a bunch of radios, and thanks to everybody that came out, excuse me, and to Brad and his folks. Brad's a manager there, Brad Dial, and all the good folks there in Edmonton for making us feel welcome. And we had a good time. Sold a bunch of radios, as I mentioned. Next stop is on the list. I'll reveal that next week. We've got a couple of weeks to go here before the next in-store weather radio event at Ace Hardware Marketplace. Ace Hardware Marketplace. Always got to remember to do it with the left hand because it's right above me there. Anyway, so weather stick is back to blue. That means the rain is just about gone. In fact, you can see on the radar, it is pretty much out of the picture. That slow moving system is finally out of here. Now we've got a backdoor cold front that is going to come through this morning, and it is going to usher in the more cooler air. Now, we're starting out cooler than we have in the past couple of days. You know, we've been at 80s. Yesterday's high was 71. That happened about 10, 11 o'clock yesterday morning here in Bowling Green officially. 73 is the average. So we were only 2 degrees shy of average, and it felt good yesterday. It wasn't 80-degree weather like we've had in previous days, but still in the 70s. We're not going to be there today at all, and for a while. So that second front that you see coming in is going to be the one that really cools us down tonight. There is a frost advisory up for some of our counties overnight. Just know that we're going to get close. I don't think we're going to get to freezing. There could be a couple of spots as the skies clear up tonight that could get maybe 32, 33, enough to maybe just put a bite of frost on some of the plants that you've got out for the spring growing season. But it's not going to be like a widespread frost. Now, tomorrow night, we will get even closer to the freezing mark under a clear sky. So, you know, it's up to you what you do. I mean, you can leave those out if you feel like you're not in a place that usually sees frost. I think you should be okay. But in one of those valley areas or in a holler somewhere, you know, where we get these bites of frost, even in the mid 30s, you may want to cover them up or bring them inside tonight if you can, because and tomorrow night too, because I think we will get, as you see there, close enough to freezing to maybe cause some harm to those plants. But we're going to go mid 60s today, not that awfully cool, just cooler than it was yesterday, but still comfortable. It is below average because, like I said, the average high right now is 73, and we're talking about mid 60s. And then tonight really will, and tomorrow night too, and the night after will be below average on low temperature, as you see 30s and near freezing in a couple of spots. We only go 58, maybe 60 tomorrow for Sunday. Then we warm up very slowly. This is going to be kind of an extended period of coolish weather, below average, 61, 66, 65, 67. You see it. Then we don't get it back into the 70s until maybe Saturday. And then we kind of fall off again into the upper 60s. So, you know, this is that mid to late April kind of, no, it's late April, isn't it? Today's the 22nd. Yeah. So what you're seeing is late April. In fact, the last 2 days you see on the blender is the first and second day of May into Derby weekend. Next, the week after next is Derby. And that's when the old adage, you know, goes Don't put anything out until after Derby Day if you don't want to lose it to frost or a freeze. And here we go. There you can clearly see it on the blender. Um, so yeah, an unusual little bit of coolness, but this is really pleasant. It's those 80s felt good, but it started to get a little humid, and I'm like, this is really a preview of summer. And I guess the older I get, the more I'm like, I just don't want the heat and humidity. I kind of like it like this 60s and 70s. It's going to be nice to me, but that's just me. That's not you. So I know you probably feel differently than that, but, you know, it's not going to be bad. And we're going to see some shower activity from time to time during that 10-day period. We'll highlight that in just a second. Looking at temperatures this morning on this Saturday morning, almost 6 a.m. as I do this podcast, you can see even some upper 30s. This is where skies have cleared back into western Kentucky, and that's allowed it to cool off into the upper 30s, low 40s. We're mostly in the mid 40s here in southern Kentucky, and then upper 40s, even some locations close to 50 in eastern Kentucky. How about rainfall? Well, at the airport, they picked up 56 hundredths, over a half inch of rain for the 24-hour period. And you can see there it is reflected by some of the mesonet stations across southern Kentucky. The most rain fell from, looks like about Hopkins County and Ohio County, over an inch of rain to, wow, 1.43. That's in Cadiz in Trigg County. And then you see way over here to the east, Wayne County and Monticello picked up an inch and 8 tenths, close to 2 inches of rain. So we had these two little spots here in the Cumberland Plateau and one in western Kentucky where the most rain fell. We were sort of in the middle because of the slow movement of that shower activity. It didn't rain anything over a half inch. We were looking at maybe an inch of rain out of all this, but that hit us on either side and did not hit us necessarily right here in the middle of southern Kentucky. But the rain was nice. We didn't have any severe weather. There were a couple of strong storms yesterday afternoon, but that was about the extent of it. As I said, that system, when it came in, would be, and it's the same system that produced all the deadly tornadoes in Texas and Oklahoma over the last few days. I said, as it gets here, remember the Pac-Man effect is going to high pressure eating away at the system before it gets here, and therefore it would be much weaker by the time it reaches us. And certainly that was the case, and thankfully so. All right, here's a look at the model map. Here's the flow from the Pacific, still there, but we have this trough. And I explained this yesterday, this dip in the jet stream that is going to allow some cooler air to move into the area starting today. And for the next several days, it's going to be with us. I'll put this into motion so that you can see the progression of the rain moving out and the cool air coming in. Yeah. And this model is putting out even some sprinkles maybe later today. Upper level energy just kind of rotating around the Great Lakes could touch some of that off. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that mix of clouds and sunshine today, and then these little clouds just pop up. That cloud looks a little dark, looks like it might rain. Then you get a little sprinkle or a little drizzle or just a brief shower. It's possible. But overall, not enough to really highlight in the forecast. I'm just telling you about it. As that system moves on, we get that cooler air coming in tonight, high pressure taking over, giving us that. You can see all that cool air just moving right across the area. And it looks like it wants to stay with us for the rest of the weekend and even into the beginning of next week. There's not going to be a whole lot of recovery. Here we are into Monday, and it's still here. See the 540 line, the dip in the jet? Still the cool air remains. So we're not going to warm up that much. Once we get into the middle and end of next week, as you saw in the blender, then we'll start to gradually warm up again. But don't expect 80s and really don't expect 70s either. Not until the end of the period and that period of 7 to 10 days. And then we'll start to see some warmer temperatures. Don't worry, they'll be back. They'll be back as we get into May. It's like, okay, no holds barred. We're into May, and that means we're going to be right in the throes of summer like heat and eventually humidity. So enjoy this cool spell while we have it. Here comes that secondary front, dry front. There may be a spritz of drizzle or a sprinkle or two today out of that as it moves through, but it's mostly dry, just reinforcing the cooler air that's going to be with us tonight, tomorrow, and for the rest of the weekend. High pressure dominating. Here we go into Monday, into Tuesday. Then we start to see, as the high pressure moves east, we get some backflow off of the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. There's going to be a closed low pressure system down in the Gulf that's going to throw the moisture back up into the central part of the country. Here comes another system. Bada bing, bada boom. And here we go into Wednesday with a trough, shortwave trough. I call it a straw because it looks like a straw, and it siphons up, sucks up the moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico and sends it northward into our area. And we'll see just really general rain showers. This is a very tame system. I'm not looking for severe weather. It's not going to be warm and muggy. It's going to be cool, cloudy, and just with showers, general showers as we get into Wednesday night, Thursday, and into Friday. Just pretty tame weather over the next several days. So, but it will be cooler. Just know that. And like I said, tonight, tomorrow night, and maybe even Monday night, you will have to maybe watch your plants for some frost. Patchy frost, not widespread, but patchy frost for those couple of nights close to freezing. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the podcast on a Saturday morning. Have a great weekend. God bless you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning.